Hey y'all, it's Courtney and I am back with another video. And I wasn't even going to make a video today because I am just in one of those just done, disgusted type moods. Like, it's 9 o'clock and I just now put some makeup on. Like, that's how just of a mood I was in. Just been seeing so much shit lately and like dealing with it myself. Like, okay, so Patience has to read a book for school, and my cat's going nuts, by the way. We thought she was still a baby, but she's in heat for the first time. We would have already gotten her fixed, but we thought she was young enough to where we wouldn't have to worry about it for another 6 months, but apparently where she's a feral cat, her growth was stunted, I'm guessing, because she's in heat right now, and she is going fucking nuts. So if you hear a cat out there, screaming at me, that's why. So anyways, so Patience, like, last notice tells us that we have to buy her this book. And we're like, we just spent $500 on clothes and shoes. You know, it would have been nice if they would have given us a few days notice. And she's like, well, my teacher gave us a whole list, but I don't want to read any of those books. And we're like, well, if we don't have to buy a book, we're not going to. Because it's car payment weight. That's like $700. We're like, we're not buying it this week. If you could wait, then we'll buy it next week when Daddy gets paid. She's like, but I need it. And we're like, no, you don't need it. You want it. Just read a book off the list this time. And then next time next time we'll get you a new book. And you can read something that you want to read. But just humor us because we just spent $500 on, and that's not even including what they're going to need when they go back to actual school and they get a list of things they need. They're doing online right now, so we haven't even had to buy like the colored pencils and all that stuff, which they have most of it already, but I know there's still going to be some shit that they need when they actually go back. So but yeah, we just spent $500 and she wants us to buy like a $30 book. No. So she's like, well, I'm going to call my grandma and ask her. So she calls her grandma, says she's broke, and we let her grandma know we're like, she doesn't need it, she just wants it, so it's not that big of a deal. Because her grandma always says that we're broke all the time. She tried to say that we're back on drugs because we're broke all the time. No, it's just that we just spent $500. And we told her that, and she said, well, Patience should get more because she's older. I don't know any parent that thinks that way. And that's probably why there were so many issues up there to begin with, because Alicia was always older, so she always got exactly what she wanted, and Patience always got left in the wayside, and we always had to buy her shit. So her saying that to us means nothing, because, like, not in my fucking house. In my house, they get exactly the same. They each got $250, $200 for clothes, $50 for shoes. So that ain't how I'm gonna run shit, giving one more than the other. No fucking way. But anyways, so her grandma said no, she couldn't do it. So she's like, well, I'm gonna call my mom. And I told her, I'm like, don't count on it. For you guys that have been here for a while, you already know how that goes. She just got out of prison. She's not asked her for anything since she's been out of prison. They bought her a new TV. But they bought her a new TV because they stole her 55-inch TV. So they went and bought her a new 22-inch, I think? Maybe it's a 20-inch, or maybe it's a 32-inch. Either way, they stole her fucking TV and gave her one that's like 20 inches less. So it wasn't out of kindness. It was out of, well, we stole your nice TV, so here's a little shitty one. So it wasn't no, kindness. It was to benefit them because they wanted the bigger TV. They could have, bought themselves the 32-inch and given her TV back, but clearly they wanted the bigger TV. So anyways, she calls and asks her, and she's like, well, why doesn't your dad have the money? Mind you, this woman has never paid child support, has never helped us with anything. Nothing. We told her, we don't want nothing from you. Just give her to us. It's the best place for her to be is with us anyways. Just give her to us. We ain't gonna take you for child support. We won't do any of that. Just leave us alone and let her live here. But at the same time, like, she's your kid too, bitch. Like, you want to knock me down and like be hateful towards me because I'm trying to take your place, but then you want to make comments to your child about, well, when your dad took custody of you, he took responsibility of you, and if he can't afford to have you, then you can just come live with mom. Patience was like, no, no. So she made sure and told her, she's like, no. She's like, that they have a list of books. I just don't want to read any of those. My dad my dad just spent $500 on me, so he said not this week. He said that he'd buy me a new book next time, but this time I'm just gonna have to get one off the list. But I wanted to ask you because I didn't want to read any of those books. But the audacity of her to say, well, if he can't afford you and it's his responsibility, they took responsibility when they took you. You gave up your responsibility. Literally. Signed over her rights the first time we were in court. 7 years ago. They told her that if she did not come to court the next time, that they were going to take her away because she didn't show up like 5 or 6 times in a row. And they let her know, if you do not come this time, we are taking that as you don't care and we're going to relinquish your rights. She didn't show up because she didn't want to get drug tested, because she didn't want to go back to prison, which happened anyways like 3 or 4 times since then. But anyways, it's just like, they make like all these deadbeat dads and this kind of stuff, but believe there are just as many deadbeat moms out there. And so anyways, that just reminded me of the Sophie case too, because I was just watching where the stepmother Courtney, so that's another reason why this case is so close to my heart, because it's just so similar to what we went through with with Patience, and I'm Courtney the stepmom as well, so it's just really funny. Well, it's not funny, but you know what I mean. But anyways, so I found out that the little boy, he had, I think his name's Jack, he had cocaine in his system. And it wasn't just a contact test, because a contact test, they do not wash the sample, so that means that it could have just gotten on your hair. No, they washed this little boy's sample. They washed the hair to make sure that it was actually in his hair. So he had to ingest it. He had to have it in his body to test positive for it. He tested positive for cocaine. And they said that, well, maybe, what happens usually is like, people that are on drugs aren't like really worried about taking wet wipes and wiping down everywhere that they've used, which is not true, because back whenever I was a drug addict and my nephews were around all the time, as soon as I was done using a surface, I would wipe it down with some sort of spray or something, because I didn't want that happening, when they were at my house. I didn't use, when they were at my house, but before they would come, I would wipe down all the tables and that kind of stuff, because that's fucking scary. And just should be a thought in any parent's mind, or anybody that's around children. They should have that in their mind, and if they don't, then they don't need the children anyways. But anyways, so they said that, like, they'll be doing something on a surface, and they're not going to think to wipe it up right after, so the kid will lay a cookie down on the table and then pick that cookie back up and stick it in their mouth. And that's the contact. But come to find out, the little boy had told his dad and stepmom that their mom had some guy around, and he made the kids lick salt rocks. So he was basically feeding crack rocks to the children. I mean, how sick and disturbing is that? And then lastly, and the mom's trying to blame it on the dad and the stepmom, of course, even though, she admitted that they had done cocaine, That woman reminds me so much of our situation. She is just put blame on everybody else. Everybody else is the problem, but I'm perfect, and, I'm just this wonderful super mom. I call, a Facebook mom, or Facebook super mom, because on Facebook you would think that she has the best relationship with her children, that she's like this fucking amazing mom. But what it really is when she sees them once a year, she'll take like a shit ton of pictures and then just upload a few pictures here and there all throughout the year to make it look like she was with them like for, every single weekend, or she sees them all the time and spends time with them and does stuff with them all the time. When in reality, it was all from one day. And she just needs to have that ego boost that she's such a wonderful mom, that she uploads the same pictures or just a few pictures of one day throughout the year. Like, why not just spend time with them? Why not just actually do things with them, and then you don't have to pretend anything? It's just sickening to me how far some moms, some non-moms or bad moms will go to make themselves look like these amazing parents when everybody knows it's not true. If you're a bad parent, people know it. But anyways, so the last thing I wanted to talk about is Cuties, the Netflix movie. Man, we watched it last night. I did not want to watch it. I had no interest, but Patience kept being like, man, I wonder what's so bad about it, because she kept seeing all these videos on YouTube. On YouTube. And she was like, I wonder what's so bad about it. And I was like, if it's too bad, we're going to turn it off, because I don't think it's something you really need to watch anyways. And it was terrible. Listen, I was so uncomfortable the whole time watching it, but my thing is, if they would not had to have made everything so creepy and uncomfortable, the storyline isn't that bad. It's a, coming of age story basically. But they had to add this like creepy, underlayer of just stuff that you do not want to think about your own child doing. So why would you want to think about somebody else's child doing? And not only that, but like the fucking there's a part where the main little girl is like acting all sexual towards this grown man, and he pushes her and he's like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, what are you thinking? Like, why would you do that? And so she takes his phone and gets mad at him and runs her and locks herself in the bathroom and takes a photo of herself and posts it, I think, to his Instagram. So like, was she trying to pin something on him because she was mad that he like denied her, or made her feel stupid because he was like didn't want nothing to do with that, like any grown man should have done? Like, that's what any grown man should have done if a little girl would come at them like that. I would expect that. But what is that teaching other kids to do? Like, somebody makes you mad, so you try to pin CP on them, or you try to pin them doing something wrong. Maybe I just missed a part, and that's not how it exactly went, because I was cooking too at the same time, but that's how it looked to me. Not to mention, there was a part where a girl's bare chest was showing, a child, like, and for the parent part in this, like, my problem is, what parent would be okay with their child playing that part? Like, I swear to God, there's some parents out there that, like, they're just oblivious. Like Brooke Shields' mother let her do a bunch of nude photos when she was 10 years old, and they put it in a book and called it erotica. She was 10 years old. And she tried to sue when she was 16 and realized, how bad it was that she was in this book for pedos, basically. And she tried to sue, and she didn't even win. She didn't even have the right to her own body, basically, because her mother signed off on her doing it. What kind of mother would sign off on their child being sexualized? Dude, I've got a weirdo neighbor, and when he sits out on his porch and looks over this way, I make my kids go up on the porch or go, away from his line of sight, because he's fucking creepy. So, but then you got these moms that sign off on their children stripping butt naked, and then people making money off of selling it to grown men that are into that kind of thing. What do you think these men are doing to photos of your child? Your very young child. But you're okay with that? Why would anybody be okay with that? Why would it not drive you insane the thought of some creepy 40-year-old man touching himself to a photo of your child before she's even a teenager. I just don't understand it. What kind of parent would sign off on anybody sexualizing their child? I mean, like I said, the story's really good, or not really good. It's not really good, but I do like, because at the end, she's doing all these awful things that are not her, because she's trying to fit in with this twerking dance crew. And not only that, but another part, a couple of the scenes where they're, like, doing the dances, there's this part where they're grabbing the back of the girl's pants to help her, like, learn how to move, to do, like, the humping the ground motion. Oh, it's so uncomfortable. Like, my face looked like this the whole time I was watching. Like, cringe. Ugh. Ugh. It just creeped me out so bad. So, who is this movie for? Because my 12-year-old was cringing the whole time, like, oh my god, why? My brother watched it with us, and he was creeped out the whole time. He was like, why? And me, being a grown adult mother, watched it and was like, oh my god, why would anybody sign off on this? So, who is it for, if not for pedos? Because any other normal person, all the normal people in my house were just completely mortified watching this movie. It is never something that we would watch again, I promise you that. It's one of those ones that you want to forget. But anyways, so, like, she does all these awful things that that's not even her. And in the end, she ends up pushing this girl in a lake, or, like, well, like a little river thing. What's that called? Like a channel? Like the channels that run in Italy and through that, I can't think of what it's called, but it's like a little, section that goes through the town, where there's water through it. And, she pushes another girl from the team in there because they were going to let that girl go on stage with them. And she wants so badly to be in on it that she pushes her in, and she can't even swim. So she doesn't even know whether she murdered this girl or not. And she steals money, and she does all this stuff that just isn't her. Well, there's this part where she's stealing, I think, and she knocks this basket off and glitter falls all over her. So then when she's up on stage, the lights are shining on her, and yellow lights shine on her, and it shows it down on her, like right here, and it looks like glitter falling on her, yellow glitter, and she just starts having this, like, panic attack, and everything hits her. Everything that she's done just hits